A wise and generous woman once told me that it was my job to tell the stories and that others would follow and give.
Over these past 12 years, I have witnessed the growth of the Red Bucket brand. From the first day I moved into the Huntington Beach Equestrian Center with my beloved horse Dino, I have watched this woman in red give her heart and soul to any and every horse in need. I have been privy to the horrors that have been inflicted on so many lost souls. But I also watched Susan and the volunteers bring many of them back to life, giving them a second chance and a guarantee of a forever home. And for those who were too far gone, they were given the gift of kindness, love, and dignity as they passed away in her arms. Susan Pierce and Red Bucket Equine Rescue have never wavered, no matter the emotional, mental, or physical cost, from creating a moral solution to an epidemic that has become rampant in every aspect of the equine world.
I have to walk
My name is Fairley, and I have had the honor of documenting Susan, the volunteers, and the horses of Red Bucket Equine Rescue over the past 12 of their incredible 14-year journey so far. This is their story.
Dave Pierce told me about a little filly. She had been starved, beaten, and she had been abandoned at a boarding stable. She was terrified. I went to a local tack store and I bought a red bucket and 50 pounds of carrots. The barn owner was going to sell her for meat because she owed him.
Three-year-old horses have little teeth and little pink gums, and she just had these little baby teeth. This little filly had been in a stall for 6 months and nobody had walked her. Nobody had touched her. Here we were making her walk to try and save her life.
Impact and sound of her body hitting the ground changed me forever. It was a line in the sand, and I turned to the stable manager and I said, "This stops now. Either I'm turning you in or I'm taking them." And he said, "Take them." So the next day, I went out and I bought 9 more red buckets, and that was the beginning of Red Bucket Equine Rescue. I distinctly remember saying to myself, my life is never going to be the same again.
Susan Pierce fills these red buckets with dinner for her horses. It now takes her 2.5 hours twice a day to feed them.
We saved 74 horses that first year, and trailer load after trailer load came from Bloomington.
38 horses that had been abandoned. Red Bucket stepped up to the plate, just like angels, and came in and just started helping.
They started building a reputation as one of the leading equine rescues in the nation,
All right, 500, have it about
saving several hundred horses in those first 3 years.
Dozens of horses at a Huntington Beach rescue facility. They have less than a month to find a new home.
Equestrian Center, where they're currently stabled, has told the rescue operation that saved them they have to move.
On New Year's Day, driving into the gates of the Equestrian Center, I looked down at my email and saw an eviction notice.
Susan Pierce and Red Bucket Equine Rescue were given 3 months to get out with nowhere to go.
Our goal is to purchase our own land where all of our horses can continue to be safe and where no horse ever has to be turned away. I remember thinking to myself, this can never happen again.
We were kind of limited to a down payment, and it was so kind of him. He owned the property, and he said, hey, if you can't pay me off, I'll hold the paper. And our dream came true. A lot of work to be done on the property. We built barns and corrals and brought in trainers, and we were there for 27 years. We built what we loved, and to give that up was... One day here came Susan, and I said, this is my girl right here.
I went to the bank for a loan, raised $800,000 for the down payment, and then the bank reneged on the loan.
I remembered the man that gave us a chance and held the paper. I wanted to do the same for her.
It's been a dream for a very long time that we own our own ranch for our horses. And today we're celebrating our ribbon cutting and the fact that our horses own their own ranch.
Red Bucket Equine Rescue officially took over Coyote Creek Ranch on April 31st, 2012, 3 months after being evicted from Huntington Beach Equestrian Center. Without fundraising, there is no Red Bucket Equine Rescue, and that alone is another full-time job. From the early days of bake sales to the Ruby Red Galas, fundraising is their only source of survival.
This job, my job, isn't just taking care of the horses, but it is fundraising to take care of the horses. Otherwise, there will never be one more.
Got a call on a horse named Socrates that had been tied to a tree and left to die. She knew the horse had at least one fracture and that he was extremely emaciated, and that if we couldn't take him, they would have to euthanize him. It's exactly why we started this, to help horses like Socrates.
Red Bucket has always rescued whoever is in need, regardless of breed, color, gender, age, or even health. I have witnessed horses being rescued from homes after police shootouts to riverbeds where horses were held hostage. There is nowhere that they will not go to save a horse, no matter how dangerous the situation is. And that is what saving a life means to Red Bucket Equine Rescue.
One of the biggest shocks for us is we never thought that we'd be rescuing show horses. Over the last few years, those calls are coming in with more and more frequency. They're our partners and are part of our sport, and they're beloved until they're not. The industry has really changed in the last 5 years, and equine rescues are now being strongly encouraged to adopt a dog and cat model of rescue. And what that means is if the horse comes in the gates and they are not adopted within 1 month, they should be euthanized. We can get a grant to euthanize a horse, but not to feed one. It's disgusting that there's so little value placed on their lives, so little value on their dignity or their well-being. It is up to us to change that narrative.
All right, well, we tempt her at animal control, so we're comfortable, obviously, that she doesn't have a temperature. She's a big mare, so just her skeleton alone probably weighs, we're looking at a big skeleton.
From the beginning, Susan has demonstrated unwavering leadership, articulated a clear vision, and established a remarkable brand. Since we first met in 2010, her belief in honoring the horses, as well as the donors that have helped her continue this life-saving work, has always been evident.
If we can't create a sustainable organization, how can we expect anybody else to? We have a commitment to our horses, our team, and our donors to make good decisions. Our hay bill has soared to $32,000 a month, and it's going to continue to go up. That's not sustainable.
My goal for Red Bucket is very clear, and it is to become the most reputable, recognizable rescue in the nation.
Looking to the future for a way to care for and feed our horses and use our donor dollars more prudently, it has become increasingly clear that we need to acquire a sanctuary in Kentucky where horses can eat for 8 to 9 months of the year for free. Our vision has expanded, and we know that rescue is not enough, and that there's a responsibility to provide sanctuary for those horses that have been too damaged to be responsibly rehomed. And subsidize retirement to invite people to take responsibility for their show horses, and shelter to allow a safe haven for those animals which are surrendered to be assessed rather than euthanized. It is our wish that somebody who's watching this today may be able to help us make our dream of Kentucky a reality, not just for the horses of today, but for the tens of thousands of horses that we will save and help in the future.